Welcome back to another episode of Conscious Chats with Urban Consciousness, where we dive deep into the realms of inner growth, healing, and connection. I'm Milan, and I'm super grateful to have you here today in this space where we explore the tools to heal, evolve, and live more consciously in our everyday lives. Today we're going to be talking about something that shows up in all our lives: fear. And more specifically, how fear manifests in our relationships, how it impacts the way we connect with others, and most importantly, how we can let go of fear to cultivate deeper connections. Fear can be a powerful force. It is a natural human response to danger. But in our relationships, fear shows up as something else. It can show up as insecurity, jealousy, avoidance, or even as control. Have you ever found yourself overthinking a situation? Maybe it's that nagging feeling that your partner might leave you, that you're not good enough for your friend, or that you might not be able to meet someone else's expectations. These thoughts are all rooted in fear. Fear in relationships are often born out of past experiences, moments of rejection, betrayal, or loss. When we've been hurt before, we unconsciously carry that fear into a new relationship. We build up walls to protect ourselves or protect ourselves from the potential of being hurt again. But those walls, while meant to keep us safe, often keep love, intimacy, and connection out. So, how do we recognize when fear arises? The first step is to become aware of the patterns it creates in our lives. Maybe you notice you withdraw when things get too intimate, or perhaps you overcompensate by people-pleasing, fearing that if you don't, you will lose the person you care about. Fear can also look like controlling behaviors. Maybe you try to manage every aspect of a relationship to avoid surprises or disappointments. Take a moment to think about your own relationships, whether romantic, familial, or friendships. What are your tendencies when fear arises? Do you run? Do you hide? Do you react defensively? In my experience with yoga, I know that yoga teaches us to be present with our emotions, no matter how uncomfortable. So instead of running from fear or suppressing it, the practice asks us to breathe into it. Allow yourself to sit with the fear, feel it in your body, and observe the thoughts it creates. When we become mindful of these reactions, we begin to reclaim our power. The next time you feel fear in your relationship, try doing this. Close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and then ask yourself, what is my fear telling me right now? What past wound is being triggered? What story am I telling myself? By becoming aware of the root of fear, you can begin to disarm it. Now, let's move on and talk about letting go of fear. Letting go of fear doesn't mean we ignore it or push it away. Instead, it means we learn to soften into it, allowing it to move through us without letting it control us. You might be thinking, well, how do I do that? And there's 3 practices that I've been using recently that have really helped me. The first one is meditation and mindfulness. When we meditate, we create space between ourselves and our thoughts. We learn to observe our fears without becoming consumed by them. With time, we realize that fear is just a passing wave. It rises, peaks, and then eventually recedes. The second practice is yoga. Doing yoga poses like heart-opening back bends or grounding forward folds can help us release stored tension and fear in the body. When we engage in these physical practices, we also engage in the practice of emotional release. And the last thing that I'd like to add to this is using affirmations. Try adding affirmations to your practices such as, I am safe, I am enough, I trust myself and my relationships. These affirmations can help rewire patterns in our brain and help us to release the fear. These simple phrases are reminders that fear is not your truth, it's just a visitor. And I think something really important to call out here is that it's not a once-off event. Letting go of fear is an ongoing practice. Like everything else in yoga and meditation, you might find that the same fear arises again and again in your relationships. But with each encounter, you have an opportunity to respond with more awareness, compassion, and openness. So once we recognize our fear, we learn to let go of fear, we begin to create space for something else. When we let go of fear, when we let go of fear, what we're really doing is creating space for something else. Love, trust, vulnerability, connection. Fear constricts us, but love expands us. When we release fear, we create space to grow our connections. We can be more present with the people we care about and love. And we can give and receive love without any hesitation. One of the most beautiful aspects of healing fear is how it transforms not only our relationships with others, but relationships with ourselves. As we soften the grip of fear, we come to realize that we are worthy of love, that we are capable of deep connection, and that we are strong enough to handle whatever comes our way. So my invitation to you today is to notice when fear arises in your relationships. Don't judge it, just observe it. Use your breath and your practices to release it. And then watch how your life and relationships begin to shift and deepen. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. Fear is something we all experience, but it doesn't have to be something that controls us. By becoming mindful of our fear and learning to release it, we can grow closer to ourselves and the people we love. If this episode resonated with you, please feel free to share it with someone who might need to hear it. I will be sharing a yoga practice and meditation to help support in releasing fear. Everything will be linked below. And don't forget to follow for more insights and practices on yoga, meditation, and healing. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, stay open, and continue a journey of growth and connection.